Welcome once again, everybody, to the No Cell Wrestling Podcast, episode 16, covering the past 7 days, mostly, of what's been going on in the wrestling business. Mainly with WWE focus, but, if something big happens in AEW, not that much big happens.
No,
We can discuss it. But yes, today I'm only joined by Alan. Unfortunately, Rebel is on holiday, well deserved, and Com, unfortunately, is a bit under the weather. Rebel will be back next week. Com will be back in 2 weeks' time. So you do just get myself and Alan. But Alan,
yes,
the $1 Million Man. How we doing? I'm Tequila the Body Ventura, and that is $1 Million Man. Two classic wrestling heel, two of the best talkers of the late 80s, early 90s. So you can't get better than Jesse Ventura and Ted DiBiase.
Oh, definitely not. And although Ted did test his chops on the commentary desk at the night Royal Rumble,
he wasn't. Yeah,
it's okay.
What was he missing, Alan? Because he's such a good promo. So is it that he just couldn't? Because we know what Vince was like, right? Vince was always giving directions. Mick Foley talked about this a lot when he was doing commentary. Like he had Vince McMahon in his ear the whole time, and he couldn't do it. Do you think that's what it was?
Yeah, it could have been actually. It could have been very. Obviously, Ted can. But actually, promos back then weren't scripted, were they?
Not much. No.
They're bullet points, and then obviously they read them off. So whether Ted could actually, I don't know, go for a full 3-hour pay-per-view. Maybe I don't know. I'm guessing maybe he just couldn't go the distance.
I mean, there is a skill called ad-libbing, right? That's what it's called, right? So some people like The Rock, like Steve Austin, they could come up with something out of nowhere. Because they had, but other people who might be good promos, they might need a bit more structure. I think AJ Styles spoke about this not long ago about promos and how some people really need more guidance than others. Some people can just think spontaneity, and maybe Ted, although he was an extremely good promo, maybe he wasn't that strong. Only he would know. Maybe he felt like he needed structure in order to get the best out of him. Some guys are more like that. They are. So maybe that was it. I don't know. Classic wrestling heels aside, though, we are here obviously to talk about. We've got 3 topics for you. I was just saying to Alan before we came on air, I don't think if we want to even address the CM Punk stuff. I mean, we can briefly talk about it, but it is going to be brief because most of it's been poo-pooed. In case you don't know, there's been lots of rumors over the past 2 days or so on the absence of CM Punk since WrestleMania, and all these rumors have come out about him being offered a 50% pay cut and how he was trying to get the change of his match finished with Roman Reigns. Another report came out today, apparently, it's to do with his wife, AJ Lee, and apparently he wasn't happy at how she was booked. So they always seem to be adding stuff like that. And then there's a whole altercation he had at the hotel, which a whole bunch of wrestlers did, but obviously his was caught on camera when Bailey and AJ Lee were having a hug and some douchebag, and he was a douchebag because you just don't go around doing that.
Exactly.
Was filming it, and then Punk. I mean, maybe Punk shouldn't have knocked it out of his hand and should have just walked in front of him. Maybe that was too far, but still, you can't blame him. It's his wife.
Exactly.
So, who knows? I don't know, but most of it has been poo-pooed. Like I say, most of the rumors have been kind of, And if you look at it, a lot of people were saying, oh, when CM Punk and Cody had that segment on the night after WrestleMania, they were setting up a match. And I was like, yeah, for next year. Not tomorrow, not next week. This wasn't going to start the program between Cody and Punk next week. It was to give you a little tease. It was saying, this is the future, as in this is probably next year's WrestleMania. Because Roman's going to be busy fighting, I don't know, The Rock or Obafemi, whoever it is, right? That leaves Cody and Punk free, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I read a report prior to WrestleMania that Punk was due to take 2 months off following WrestleMania.
Well, yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Because he's pretty much been there, hasn't he? He might not have wrestled every Raw or every pay-per-view, but he was still there. He was still in a segment pretty much nearly every week.
Yeah, and the thing you got to remember, guys, is that he wasn't meant to be the champion. It was meant to be Rollins. He won the belt at SummerSlam, and then Rollins cashed in. Punk wasn't meant to win that belt back. The idea was meant to be Rollins. The first rumored main events was Rollins and Reigns. So all they really did is just got Rollins. Once Rollins got injured, who'd they put the belt on? They put the belt on Punk. And then Punk held it and then dropped it to Reigns because Reigns was always going to win the belt. But he was meant to be winning it off Rollins, not Punk. So Punk just took Rollins' spot. Right? Despite me not liking that, and I strongly disagree with the creative, but that's irrelevant. That is what the plan was always. They were always going to put the belt back on Roman. So Punk was just filling in. So Punk probably had Rollins not get injured, I imagine Punk probably wouldn't have been around as much because Punk, even though I wouldn't say he's part-time, he's not somebody who is there every week. He might appear every couple of weeks rather than being every week.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that he's taking time up because I don't think he never came back to work a full schedule. He never has right from the start. That's not he's got more dates than someone like Brock. He's not like a Brock who you'll see a couple of times a year. He wrestles more than that. But he's not somebody who's probably there every week, and he was never going to be. So he's been there every week, as Alan says. So, and storyline wise, sometimes you do need to take a break because what was Punk going to do? Continue feuding with Roman? Well, no, not really. That story was more or less over with. So it's just like Roman was going to move on to wrestle the rest of his cousins, obviously. And what was Punk going to do? There wasn't, and the stuff with Cody, like I say, that was a tease. That's a tease for much. That's next year. That's the next year's WrestleMania tease. This is the breadcrumbs. This is the breadcrumbs.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're just heading towards a SummerSlam match. Punk and Cody.
It could be a SummerSlam match.
I think I predicted that either last week or the week before, but I predicted it'll be the SummerSlam Night 1 main event. God forbid they take Night 2. They can't because that'd be Roman.
Well, yeah, I mean that's
the king of the ring.
We'll come to the King of the Ring soon. Big up to Com in the chat. Everybody wish Com well. He's under the weather a bit. Com says, "Big up, lads. Here just to drop my fuck TKO, fuck Roman Reigns, and fuck LA shite." Funny enough, we're going to be talking about Reigns and LA shite because LA shite probably is the most likely guy to win King of the Ring. That won't make you feel good, but we'll get to it. So big up to Com. Right, Alan. I ask this question every week. Did you bother watching Smackdown?
I saw the highlights.
Anything on there?
If you could call them that.
There wasn't much.
No, it wasn't much at all.
What did you take from it? I mean, I'm interested. Okay, I've got a little bit of interest with Sami Zayn, although I find it weird that Sami Zayn's now involved with the world title. Didn't he just lose 2 matches to Trick Williams in the US belt?
Yep, yes, he did.
Explain to me how this makes sense then. Why he shouldn't be sniffing around any title?
No, shouldn't be. The logic in the WWE of the last 5-6 years actually maybe even the last 10 has just been all over the place. You don't just lose a load of matches or you don't just come back and then expect a title match. There's meant to be a ranking system. There used to be a ranking system. AEW has a ranking system. When someone comes out and you see their nameplate and it says how many wins and losses they've had.
Yeah.
That's the way you should run it. That's the way WWE should run this. Thinking, well, Sam Jones there can't just come in and just get a title match. You're not allowed to. Work your way up the ladder. Get some wins first. Don't just get one win. Don't just pin like one of the top guys. Like, oh yeah, I get a title match now. No, it doesn't work that way. Like when you're a champion and you lose your title. For some reason, over the last couple of years, you now don't get an automatic title shot. Why? That was always the champion's privilege to get your rematch clause put into effect. That doesn't happen now. It's like, oh, I've lost. Now I have to go back down to the bottom of the ladder and start again. Fuck's sake! This is a TKO thing. There's got to be a TKO thing. Has to be.
All I know is that Sami Zayn couldn't even beat Trick Williams. He was mucking around with what's his name, Little something, whatever the
little Sharty, as I call him.
Yeah. So and then he was involved in the fantastic Gingerbread Man segment, which was an embarrassment. And now I like Sami Zayn. So wrestling wise, I got no problem with it. But I wish they wouldn't have done. They shouldn't have done. If this was always going to be the plan, and they were going to have Sami Zayn, because Sami Zayn and Cody Rhodes have been going back and forth since like February. So I understand the storyline, but my point is, if you were always going to do that, why did you have him? Why did you do the whole thing with Trick Williams? that made Sami Zayn look like shit. I don't get it.
Trick Williams is their new plaything.
But there's other heels.
Yeah, true.
What about Carmelo Hayes? There's history between they attacked him.
But he's too busy getting pinned by Ricky. I better say Starks and Ricky Saints.
Ricky Saints. Yeah. I just there's no long as we've said so many times. There's no long-term booking in this company. They can't think more than a month ahead. They just seem to not. They got tunnel vision. They can't seem to have long-term stories anymore. It's one of the worst things. It's not. Vince was like this as well, but at least Vince, in his heyday, and we're going way back, could actually build a long-term storyline. He actually could. Yeah,
Vince could. For all his faults, he could. The man could book. Let's say he started WrestleMania, didn't he? But work his way backwards, didn't he?
Well, that was always what they used to do. They'd come up with a WrestleMania main event, and then they'd say, "Okay, how do we get there?" Nowadays, I mean, they struggle to think more than 1 month. The defense is that there's more shows and there's more TV. And you know what? Fair enough. I will. Okay, there's more shows. They do have to put it is more difficult to tell a longer term story. I get it because there is more shows. There's more episodes. Back in the day, Alan, you'd have an hour of Superstars a week. Wrestling Challenge.
That's it. Wrestling Challenge, that's it. So, and then from about 92, you used to get All American Wrestling, didn't you, on Sundays?
You get like half an hour.
Which basically would just be like, the highlights of the week, pretty much.
Yeah. So it was easier to book. Stories could last longer because you didn't run through all your material. So I understand that criticism, and that is a fair criticism, but still, they still can think more than 1 month ahead. But they don't. As for me, Alan, I can't think of, like I say, the Sami Zayn stuff I found. I find the storyline interesting, but I failed to see Sami Zayn as any kind of threat. And also, I think Gunter's not looking particularly good in all this either. I think Gunter's kind of like, because it looks like they might be setting up a triple threat. It looks like they might be setting up a kind of triple threat match.
Yeah, they could be. I mean, what's the next pay-per-view? Night of Champions in Saudi, isn't it?
Is Cody even defending the belt at that event?
I don't know what the card is.
I'm not sure there's any. I'm not sure. Cody's defending the title against Gunter, I think, next week on Smackdown.
Really?
Yeah, and that's on a weekly show. That's why I think they're setting up for a triple threat. I think. Big up to Coover in the chat. He says, "Big up, lads. Stop knocking SmackDown once per week. My insomnia is cured."
That's like me with Raw. I can't. This week when I actually decided to watch Raw. I don't know why.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
Youngin, G1 Evans comes out, and that's the last thing I saw. Then I must have fallen asleep.
No, we were talking about him too.
So sorry. The younger OG put me to sleep.
Yeah, so I don't have anything much to say about SmackDown. I don't care about any of the stories in SmackDown, really. I don't care about Trick Williams.
The Tiffany Stratton experience is over. So she got jaded and pinned. So see you, Tiffany. It's Stiffy time.
I don't care about Tiffany Stratton. I don't care about Trick Williams. I don't mind Rhea Ripley, but I don't see any potential. I do not want to see her and Charlotte again. I know that's where they're going to go. And I do not want to see Charlotte challenge for that world. I don't want to see any of this. Alexa Bliss, turn heel, please. Even so, I know they won't take her seriously. They haven't taken her seriously in years. So I don't. Rhea Ripley's got, as far as I'm concerned, Rhea Ripley's got nobody to work with. So I don't particularly care about her either anymore.
Yep.
Alan, their tag team champions are R-Truth and Damian Priest.
Yeah, but when have they defended the titles?
Then they defend it against.
That's another thing. That's another thing. The 30-day defense rule needs to come back. It's the reason why these people end up with longer title reigns, because they don't defend them. That Roman Reigns 1,300 days or whatever it was, bullshit. He defended about 20 times.
Yeah, it was a couple of times a year, wasn't it?
Yeah, a couple of times a year. So he defended it. He should have defended that title 100 times. This whole not defending it for 30 days thing, that needs to come back. Defend it within 30 days.
I think you can blame Brock Lesnar for that. He was the first one who broke that rule, and they just let it happen to everyone else.
Yeah, thanks, Brock. On a positive note, I did enjoy Damian Priest getting frog smashed by Dominic Mysterio. That was fun.
Yeah, we'll talk about the
former world champion getting frog splashed on SmackDown and pinned.
Yeah, he'll never get back there again.
No, that's another experiment. That's done.
Yeah, he'll never get back there again. Okay, so let's move on to Raw. Like I say, we've got three or four. Well, we've got 3 topics to talk about. We'll talk about Raw. Then, as I said, we'll discuss this year's King of the Ring, and then as a closing thing for a bit of fun, me and Alan will talk about some of the older King of the Ring tournaments and what we liked and didn't like. So Raw, Alan, big up to Alan for what I don't know how. I've seen the highlights, but apparently, Alan, you somehow watched a lot of this. How did you manage it?
Yeah. It's called having my phone in my hand and I'm just Googling stuff. And I have it on in the background. And I'll turn my head up to every now and again because most of it is just piss poor. I mean, I watched the opening segment with Oba calling Brock Lesnar a big bad bitch or something, and of course, Heyman's not there because Heyman got speared through the barricade last week.
Yeah, he's got to sell it for a while. Yeah.
So yeah, he's gonna. So they said he's not medically cleared. I'm thinking he's not a wrestler, is he? He's only got to stand at ringside.
See, back in the old days, they'd come out with a neck brace and they'd ham it up totally, wouldn't they?
That's it. Yep. Completely ham it up, but no.
Too much effort, mate.
Too much effort, definitely. So obviously they're obviously setting up Brock versus Oba 3. Oba's obviously gone through to the next round of the semi-finals of the King of the Ring.
Yeah.
Again, he's going to be facing Dominic Mysterio. Dominic Mysterio comes out to intervene in this little promo segment. Oba no sells a chair shot from JD McDonough. And I do mean no sells it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dominic gets that, I don't know what you call it, that release sort of back suplex kind of thing he does. He launches him across the ring.
Yeah.
So he literally throws Dominic pretty much across to the other side of the ring. And that's it. That's going to be a fun match. But I'm expecting Brock to interfere in that.
Like I say, we'll discuss the tournament next. We'll discuss all that stuff. Anything else on Raw? Like 3 hours, Alan. What else did you get?
Was it 3 hours? It didn't seem like it. 2.5
or what is it?
I was just busy looking at Star Fox stuff. Oh yeah, Chad Gable. Yeah, he got a bit of a pop, didn't he?
Yeah. So Gable has been on the he was on Smackdown as well, I suppose. Yeah. Let's talk about Chad a little bit. So obviously he dropped the mask in the big Lucha Libre AAA. That apparently was I haven't seen all of it. It's a long match. It was a good match. I don't know if people are overrating it because wrestling's so subpar right now that anything that's not bad is being blown out of proportion. I thought it was a good match. I've heard people saying it's like a 5-star match. It's like I think a 5-star match is rare. I still think Punk versus Reigns is the best match I've seen this year.
It was a good match.
So maybe there's that, but Chad Gable obviously has come back as a babyface. He's trying to be like an honest guy now. He's coming back saying, trying to apologize to all the lucha wrestlers about how he understands the culture now and how he was disrespectful them and blah blah blah. But Alan, let's be honest. Chad Gable's ceiling, and this isn't me knocking. He's one of the best wrestlers they've got when it's just wrestling ability. He's an okay promo. Let's not get carried away. He's all right. He's not tippy top promo guy. He's okay. He's all right.
Yeah, he's kind of like the new wave Owen Hart, isn't he?
He's okay. Yeah,
he's good in the ring. The promo is not quite there.
No,
that's how I compare Chad Gable. He's a bit of an Owen Hart.
And whether you like it or not, how you look. It's a television product. More than ever before, wrestling is a television product. So your physical appearance matters. And I tell you now, Triple H looks at Chad Gable, and there's no way in hell he can ever push Chad Gable as a main eventer. It will never happen. Ever. No. He hasn't got
that it factor that a lot of the other guys have.
He's too small.
Unfortunately, yeah.
He's too small. Now,
so Trips is adopting the Vince McMahon sort of goggle glasses.
And in case you had any doubts, right? Look at Alan. Please back me up.
Okay.
Triple H in 1995 or 94, when he was Hunter Hearst Helmsley,
Oh yeah,
when he's Blue Blood.
yeah.
What was his physical body like compared to when he became Triple H a couple of years later?
He was very slim, wasn't he? He had
Yep.
kind of like a Chad Gable physique, didn't he?
He was tall. He looked tall.
Yeah,
but
he was six.
tall
Yeah,
and lanky.
he was 6'4". He was about 200 and I think he was about 246 pounds. That was what he's billed at.
He wasn't jacked, was he, Alan?
No, he wasn't jacked at all. He wasn't jacked until about 98, 99.
Right.
When obviously he got the rub from Vince that you're now going to be like
Exactly.
the top heel of this company.
Exactly.
And that's when Trips came back all jacked and weighing about 260 pounds. He put about 15, 16 pounds worth of muscle on.
Exactly. So my point is, do you think Triple H, who knows this and who lived it, is not going to be like, the main event guys have got to look a certain way? Now, Chad Gable, he's jacked. Chad Gable's got a great physique. There's he does.
Yeah,
he's not big enough. He's not big enough. He's not Obafemi, because that's what they want. They want Obafemi. He's not Obafemi. He's not Roman Reigns. He's not Brock Lesnar. The smallest main eventer they've probably got is CM Punk, and Punk's quite a unique case. But Punk isn't jacked. I mean, he's more jacked now, apparently. But, I mean, overall, he's not been that kind of a body guy. So my point is, CM Punk's got the promo, though. So for Chad Gable to overcome his physical deficiencies, right, as they would see it, he needs to have something else. Because being a good wrestler is not enough. Not in the WWE. It never has been. Otherwise, Owen Hart would have been a multiple-time world champion.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, Chris Benoit, dare I say his name? Yeah, he won the world title, but he had it for 3 months. But if it's just based on wrestling ability, he would have been a 10-time world champion at his peak. But he wasn't. It's because it's more than just wrestling ability.
Yeah, you look at the people who've held multiple titles. You know, your Hulk Hogan's, your John Cena's, your Randy Orton's, all got all jacked physiques, haven't they? Oh, okay. Yeah. Hogan was more like a barrel body, but he had the 23-inch pythons, brother.
Well, exactly. Yeah. He didn't have the abs and stuff like that, but he was just so bloody big, wasn't he? 6'8" what he was. So and I'm not saying that you've got to be 6'4" to be a good. I'm not. This isn't me. This is me telling you the history of the WWE. This is me telling you what the history of the WWE is.
Yeah, this is their selection process.
Yeah, and the only time they differed was when Vince McMahon was being pulled up on steroid trial. Then they had to go with guys like Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. They had no choice because they had to. And as soon as Vince was cleared, who did Vince McMahon go to? As soon as Vince McMahon was cleared of the steroid trial, do you want to know who Vince McMahon went to? Lex Luger. Kevin Nash. Okay? So this is it. So it's Chad Gable. Chad Gable can never do anything about it. He can't help his genetics.
Exactly.
So the best that Chad Gable, my point is the best Chad Gable can ever kind of be is I can see him being the IC champion. Easy. He'll probably, in fact, I expect him to win that title sometime this year. Whoever beats Penta for it might be Ethan Page. I think it looks like the obvious choice, maybe Rusev. Whoever beats Penta for it, I can see Gable beating them later in the year. That I can see happening. But a world champion, the people are talking about, no. Sorry. It's not my choice, by the way, but no. So I hate to kind of put the kibosh on Chad Gable because I like Chad Gable.
Yeah, it's good.
But this is, unfortunately for him, this isn't Mexico. This is American professional wrestling, and they have a certain way of doing stuff. And Chad Gable, unfortunately, will never probably be able to. If I'm wrong, I'll be happy to be wrong. And there's always a chance that something like a Chad Gable, like a Sami Zayn, like a Daniel Bryan, right? There's always a chance they could have a little run. Because these guys, like a Daniel Bryan, again, very similar. Daniel Bryan, one of the best wrestlers one of the best technical wrestlers of all time.
Yeah, he is.
And not a bad promo either. Was he top tier promo? Probably not, but he was all right.
Yeah, he could cut a promo.
But Alan, what was wrong with Daniel Bryan? His looks.
Yeah, he didn't have to look about. He looked very plain.
Yeah.
There's no fault in him at all. But that's obviously the way he wants to live his life. He doesn't want to cover himself in tattoos and jack himself up. He just wanted to look acceptable and be a good wrestler. And that was Vince looking at him, thinking, no, you're not a wrestler to me.
Yeah, and they did the whole storyline with the Authority, who was just Vince really in real life, saying, "Oh, Daniel Bryan is a B+ player. He's not good looking enough. He doesn't look good on posters. He's not chiseled enough. He's not pretty enough." And you might think, "Oh, it's a storyline." No, then they pushed Roman Reigns for 10 years down our throats, who is exactly what they want because he was lucky enough to be 6'2". He's lucky enough to be physically attractive to women. Again, I don't swing that way, but just ask women and they will tell you. Just ask them. That's why they went with Roman Reigns and not Daniel Bryan, and because they were both around at the same time. I remember vividly Roman Reigns pinning Daniel Bryan on a baby versus babyface match, and so many people like myself who were against the Roman Reigns bandwagon were so depressed when it's like, oh no, we'd rather have Daniel Bryan, but no, Roman Reigns is going to have to beat him. And then I think that was the same year when Roman went to WrestleMania and took 5 F5s. I think this all happened in a two or three month period.
Yeah, bullshit.
So, anyway, my point is, I've been rabbiting on, I'll shut up. Chad Gable ain't never going to get to the top, unfortunately, because of his size, unfortunately. Anything else, Alan, on Raw for you?
Penta defended the IC title against Rey Mysterio, Mexican Destroyer.
What did you think of that match?
It's a throwaway match. He never had a chance of winning, Rey Mysterio. I'm still waiting for them to pull the trigger on his retirement. The rumor was he meant to have his retirement match at Italy because he wanted to duck Gunther at WrestleMania. Oh, I'm injured, I can't fight you. As soon as Gunther's booked into a match, oh, I'm okay now. Which seems a bit weird.
He can't have Ray can't go much longer, bless him. Surely not.
So I'm guessing that we'll come to it. Obviously, it's going to be linked to the King of the Ring, obviously.
Yeah.
Trying to think what else happened on Raw other than the obvious King of the Ring matches. Oh, Soruka, she defended her IC title against inaugural champion Lila Valkyria. Inaugural. Did she hit the finisher properly this time? She did. Yeah, she actually hit it quite clean. Okay, well that's an improvement then. Yeah. But how far has Lara Valkyria fallen? Oh yeah, she's never sniffed that title. She's never sniffed a title since she lost that. No, she's not. She's not going to be. I think it's safe to say, unless they turn her heel and she becomes a revelation as a heel. Because I always feel this way, Alan. Like, in order to really fully judge the wrestler, I think you've got to see them on both sides of the fence, and then you can make your mind up. So Lara Valkyria has only been a babyface. I've never seen her as a heel. She's got a decent enough moveset where part of me thinks that if she wanted to be like this aggressive heel, a much more of a kind of a bully, I think she's got actually a decent enough moveset where some of her stuff, because I think as a wrestler, she's actually not bad as an actual wrestler. I don't like the character. I don't like the stuff she comes out in. I think that's pretty bad. And she can't cut a promo like most of them. That's bad as well. But wrestling-wise, I think she's solid enough. So it'd be interesting to see as a heel. Maybe she could impress me a bit more as a heel. Yeah. But just give her a heel run. Why not? I think she's found her ceiling. I think she's going to be where she is for she's not going to. I can't see her ever winning one of the big belts. No, it'd be a tag title. That's it. Yeah. And that's pretty much it for Raw, but without touching on the obvious. Yeah, there is. Without talking about the King of the Ring, because there was a couple of segments on Raw, but it is more to do with the King of the Ring, which we can talk about. So Raw for me, again, guys, I can't. I give Alan credit. I can't sit and watch these. I can watch the highlights. Or what I tend to do is I will read a news report on a website I use, and I will read the segments. And then if I see a segment between two guys I like, or a match between a match I really want to see, I will then seek that segment only. I can't handle the advertising. I can't handle Michael Cole, and I can't handle most of what they do anymore. Oh, yeah, Michael Cole's pronunciation of the Rochambeau is great.
Really?
Yeah. He got corrected by Corey Graves, yeah. It's just quite funny.
I can't stand Michael Cole. The commentators are so bad. Okay, so there you go. Right, so we're going to talk about the King of the Ring. Obviously, King of the Ring tournament. I mean, it doesn't even get a pay-per-view named after it anymore, Alan.
No, not really.
King of the Ring. Go on.
Sorry, yeah, as I say, it's all going to take place at Night of Champions.
Yeah, so the Night of Champions. Let me read out Cuva's comment first before we get to this. Cuva says, spot on. That's all the shows are good for nowadays. Have them on in the background for the freak chance that something interesting happens. I think, Cuva,
that's how I draw.
I think that's 80% of the fan base. I think that's most people now because we've all got lower attention spans anyway. We're all on our phones, like Alan says.
Yeah.
And you need something that's going to drag you away. And most of the time, you don't get it.
It just occurred to me the last time I actually watched SmackDown properly.
When
the White Six's last match was. That was the last time I watched SmackDown. I've not watched SmackDown since.
That's like 3 months ago now, isn't it? 3 or 4 months.
Since then, it's just been highlights. So they go TKO. I like the White Six. You took them away. I'm not interested now.
Well, they've got to give you a reason to watch, and I seen there's very little reasons to watch Raw, and there's virtually no reason to watch SmackDown. That's why most people don't. Okay, so King of the Ring is, as Alan says, it's at Night of Champions. It doesn't even quite get its own pay-per-view. We will be talking about our back in the day segment will be coming at the end, where we will talk about when they were pay-per-view, just for the King of the Ring. But nowadays, Alan, they can't even be asked to have a proper tournament. They now have 4 fatal 4-ways, and then you just automatically get into the semi-finals.
Yeah,
bloody lazy. Yeah, bloody lazy, diluted, half-assed. Just they don't care at all about the tournament as a whole. They just want to hit the fast forward button, just get to the semi-finals. They couldn't even be bothered with all their television they've got. Couldn't even be bothered to have the whole tournament be singles. They couldn't even be bothered.
Yeah, put qualifying matches up on YouTube or something. They got a YouTube channel. Record them as dark matches, on a Raw or a SmackDown. Put them on YouTube and say, exclusive to YouTube, King of the Ring qualifying match between such and such and such and such. And there you go. At least you got a qualifying match, and then we got some brackets, proper brackets. Not let's just shoehorn 4 people into one match, and whoever wins that will go to a semi-final.
This reminds me of something like WWE Universe on 2K would do, where they wouldn't have a proper tournament. They just it reminds me of this stuff. It's so incredibly lazy. And you know what? There's really no excuse for the laziness. It feels half-assed. It looks half-assed. It feels half-assed. So when it comes across to the fans, it's half-assed. You can't even be bothered to name why can't you just name the pay-per-view King of the Ring?
Well, exactly. So I don't foresee any of the champions defending. I think Night of Champions was meant to be. At one point, it was every championship being defended.
Yeah, it was originally.
And then they turned it into it's like the world champion versus the other world champion, or the US champion versus the RT champion, or the tag champions versus the tag champions, that kind of stuff.
Back when they had the 2 brands that actually tried to say separate, yeah. Okay, Alan. Well, here's the brackets for anyone who cares. The brackets were now 3 out of these 4 fatal 4-ways have taken place, with one on the men's side and one on the women's side due to take place on SmackDown. So this is the brackets and the winners. So Penta, Obafemi, Solo Sikoa, sorry, I couldn't read that, and Carmelo Hayes. I think this was last week. Obafemi won, obviously, pinning Solo Sikoa.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, his team just...
Why they couldn't have had Sikoa versus Femi as a singles match, and then they could have had Penta versus Carmelo Hayes, and then they could have had quarterfinals, maybe Penta versus Obafemi, or Carmelo Hayes, whoever. No, they could have done that. But they didn't. The one Alan was talking about, so Dominic Mysterio, he defeated Bron Breakker. Trick Williams, surprised they didn't have Trick Williams because he didn't have Big They're on him. And Damian Priest, as Alan said, the former world champion Damian Priest, frog splashed and pinned.
Yeah.
Bron Breakker, wow. how the mighty or the people thought Bron Breakker was going to be winning everything, and this dude can't even qualify for the King of the Ring.
Yeah, exactly.
So why they've gone with Mysterio and not Breakker? The only reason I can think of is that they don't want Breakker and Femi to meet yet. They might think to themselves, well, Breakker and Femi are two young guys who are going to be the future, so we don't really want to give that match away out of nowhere. Okay, that's a pay-per-view caliber match. They might be thinking that, maybe. But for some reason, Dominic Mysterio's got the W here, and he meets over Femi. That's one half of the bracket. The other half, again, I think this is a bit of a surprise winner as well. And but there we are. Seth Rollins, Javon Evans, Tonga, and Ricky Saints.
Yeah,
I expected Rollins to win because I thought that Rollins reigns is the most likely world title match, and this is how they get Rollins there.
Yeah.
But they didn't go with that.
No.
My second choice would have been Ricky Saints because I quite like Ricky Saints.
That's who I thought they were going to put on. I thought that Rollins would be too involved with the Bron Breakker thing because Bron Breakker didn't win his match for a reason. Oh, we're going to pair him up with Rollins. So Ricky Saints will take the win on this one. I thought, yeah, because the King of the Ring as a concept really gravitates more to the heel.
Always has, yeah.
Yeah. Not many faces have won the King of the Ring.
It doesn't, the gimmick's designed for a heel. It doesn't fit faces. But Javon Evans, Alan, apparently the young'un won. And I just think that's.
Do you know what? Because I fell asleep with that match. I actually watched this whole match today when I got back from work, and I knew I was going to do this stream today. So I thought I'd actually watch the match. I skipped all the entrances. I just went from bell to bell. That Javon Evans, he does nothing in the whole match. All he does is fly. He just bounces. He just comes out of nowhere. The man has zero wrestling skills. He's a great acrobat. He's a great athlete. He can't wrestle for shit. He can't do anything. The only move he actually hit in that whole match was that stupid springboard RKO. His OG cutter, as he calls it. That's all he did. That's the only move he actually hit.
Other than skin color, what's the difference between him and Saruka?
Zero.
There you go.
Absolute zero. He should not have won that match at all.
What you've just criticised there is exactly what I've been saying about Saruka. And this is the people that they're hitching their wagons to.
And the thing is, he actually botched a couple of times in that match as well.
Just like she does.
There was a moment. I think Ricky Saints was in the corner, and he comes running at him, and he does do it like a springboard. He slips off the top rope and ends up falling to the outside, and then has to go back and repeat it. Yeah, and then a minute later, he botches something else. I'm thinking, my God, see, this is what happens when you keep flipping all the time. Keep your feet on the ground and wrestle. You're a wrestler. You're not competing in the goddamn Olympics for gymnastics. Wrong winner for this one. Absolute wrong winner.
And it's too choreographed. Wrestling nowadays, there's too many matches that look too choreographed.
He can do great springboard moves. That's the only positive I'll give him.
But you don't do them 100 times in a match though.
Yeah, but he thinks he can. He thinks he can keep spamming them all the time.
This is what I mean. It's sometimes less is more. What about transitions? What about selling? What about transitions?
He doesn't have that.
What about storytelling?
No, he doesn't have it. His storytelling is jumping in the crowd and, being young in.
Well, so Evans is in.
Yeah,
The
somehow.
quarterfinal, and
Ricky Saints should have won that.
I agree. So the match that hasn't happened yet, that is happening on Smackdown tomorrow, is Jey Uso, LA Knight, Com's favorite, Royce Keys, and Finn Balor. Interesting thing about this match is that they're actually all four. It looks like I think LA Knight isn't long for this as a babyface, but as of right now, all four men are all baby faces.
Yeah, the thing is, Royce Keys actually took a loss last week, did he? To Talatonga of all people.
Yeah, I think he's not going to be. He's another one who's not going to be getting too high.
Yeah, and sorry to go back to Ricky Saints. The fact that he got pinned against, for fuck's sake, really? You could have pinned Talatonga. He's the least valuable one in this match, other than Jivon, obviously. But no, you're just going to pin Ricky Saints. Sorry, carry on.
Well, I'm just looking at the bracket. So the thing that as I said, right? So you've got Obafemi and Evans, right? Two baby faces. Then you've got the last bracket that hasn't been filled can only be filled by a baby face because LA Knight, Uso, Royce Keys, and Bella are all faces as of right now. They're all baby faces. So that means the only heel left in the whole tournament is Dominic Mysterio.
Yep, Dominic Mysterio. Yep.
Explain this, Alan. For God's sake, explain this booking to me. Why is there one heel left in the whole tournament?
I wish I could explain it. I don't know. I'm fully expecting Oba just to steamroll him and go on to face LA Knight, I suppose, at Night of Champions. Brock will come out because it's obviously held in Saudi, so obviously the Saudis are going to pay Brock big money just to make an appearance, which he probably will. He'll come out. He'll cross over the match. And then, we'll have LA Knight versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. Sorry, Con. Your favourite LA Knight's going to get a world title match. But if he's got any consolation, he won't win.
I don't understand the booking, right? It's all baby faces other than Dominic Mysterio.
If this was GM mode, it'd be like half a star.
Even Alan said that, and he's right, and we're going to cover this in our final topic. If you look back from the King of the Ring, it always is a better heel gimmick. It always has been a heel gimmick, right? And they've got one heel left in it. And to make it worse, make any sense again, their current two world champions are both baby faces. So their two world champions are baby faces. And 90% of what's left in the King of the Ring, the winner, by the way, challenges for the world title at SummerSlam. I don't know. I don't know if they can choose. I'm assuming they can probably choose, or maybe it will be based upon whatever brand they're already on. I don't know. But it's now most likely going to be won by a babyface. So they're setting up baby. There's no heels.
There's not.
They've got no heels. But why, Alan? Why are they not taking this opportunity to build a heel, a Braun Breaker? I'm just saying, right? A heel, a challenger, a heel. We just had a WrestleMania where it was Reigns and Punk, and they're both baby faces. And Cody and Orton, and even though Orton did turn heel, you wouldn't know that from the fan reaction, by the way. But this is what I mean. There's no heels.
Yeah, there's not.
So why are you not using the King of the Ring to build your next monster, to build your next big heel, to face your baby faces?
That's it. Exactly.
Unless Dominic's going to win it, you know what? That wouldn't be impossible. But are they going to have Dominic Mysterio versus Roman Reigns? You think? Of course not. They can't have that as SummerSlam for the world title. Dominic's nowhere near ready.
No, he won't be. This is probably where they're going to do the Dominic Mysterio, Rey Mysterio retirement match. Dominic's going to get steamrolled by Oba, guaranteed. Next week, he's going to get steamrolled.
I don't get it. So we will talk about predictions quickly. Well, but you know what? Before that, let's do the women. The women is much less interesting, being honest.
Yeah,
telling you the truth.
Sure. Sorry.
I'll quickly go over the brackets. We're not going to spend that much time on this. The women, and again, it's no disrespect. It's not come across as important. They haven't treated it being important either. So this tells you why it's not important, because one of the women's world champions is in the semi-final. How does that make sense?
Well, exactly. So if Liv Morgan wins the Queen of the Ring,
you challenge yourself.
Yeah. Or does she go after Rhea Ripley? Champion versus champion, title for title.
Well, if they want to, I wouldn't be against them unifying the belts. I mean, they haven't got. That wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if they actually only had one women's world title. I don't think they actually need to, but there we are. Anyway, Liv Morgan defeated Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss, and Chelsea Green. I would have rather had any of those other three than Liv Morgan, and that's not because I hate Liv Morgan. It's because she's already a champion. She shouldn't be in the tournament.
It just really shows how weak their roster is.
She'll be fighting the winner of the match on SmackDown, which will be Sol Ruka, Valkyria, Charlotte Flair, and Jade Cargill. I imagine Flair. I'm going to say that I would expect Flair to win that probably. Maybe Sol Ruka, but Flair probably. On the other side, Alan, your favorite wrestler, who I know you love so much, Io Sky. She beat Julia in Italy. Nice choice.
Yeah.
She beat Lash Legend, and she beat somebody who I think, considering the storyline that they were hinting at, why Roxanne Perez did not go through and is not at least in the finals to be winning this. Whatever. They beat her. So Io Sky, she'll be going up against Raquel Rodriguez, who probably is my pick if they are going to do a Liv Morgan feud. You can kind of see maybe where this is going to go. She defeated Bailey, JC Jane, and Kiana James. So your semi-finals are Io Sky versus Rodriguez and Liv Morgan versus the winner of that match. Let's quickly talk about the women's before we try and predict the men's. I think they're going to go. I think Liv Morgan gets to the final. Do I think it makes sense? No. I think Liv Morgan goes to the final. She fights Raquel Rodriguez. Expects Rodriguez to lay down for her because of the whole Judgment Day stuff. Raquel refuses to. Raquel probably beats her, wins the Queen of the Ring, and then you've got the storyline there of she just beat Liv Morgan in the finals, and now she's going to challenge her. She'll probably be kicked out of Judgment. We've seen this storyline because this is the same storyline with Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Somebody gets upset with the rest of them, and then they get kicked out, and then they feud. It's literally a conveyor belt. So I expect it to be Rodriguez. I expect to win, and I expect it to be her versus Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan will probably still be a heel. I imagine that Rodriguez will be the one turning face. That's what I think is going to happen. Alan,
you
want ES Sky to win. I know that. So what are we doing there? What are we doing with your booking?
If she changes her music, then yeah, I want ES Sky to win. Because every time I hear that music, it just drains the life out of me. Whoever composed that music needs to get their ears checked, because that music is horrible. In ring, she's okay. She's nothing great. She's okay.
Who would
you? But I think your logic is there. I can't disagree with your logic. I can see that happening. That's the kind of thing TKO would do. Have Liv go straight to the fight. Well, fight her way to the final, and have Raquel Rodriguez beat her. Why not?
I don't see any other reason for Liv Morgan to be in it.
Yeah, exactly. There's no reason to be there. What are you setting up for? Raquel's on the other side.
Yeah, it
writes itself.
It does. Yeah, it looks pretty obvious to me.
So yeah, I don't disagree. I can't see it going any other way. What, EO Sky gets through, then what?
No, the only people I can see winning this, the obvious one is Rodriguez. I could see them maybe, if they want to have Flair and Rhea Ripley, which I fear is what they want, this could be a way for Flair to get the title shot. I don't want it to happen. I don't want to see Charlotte Flair ever wrestle. Well, maybe I should just end that there. I don't want to see her ever wrestle, but I certainly don't want to see it anywhere near a world title. I've had my fill of Charlotte in the world title. I don't ever need to see it again. So,
yeah, been there, done that, got the t-shirt.
But I fear that they view her. She's the female Roman Reigns. I've said it for years. She is the female Roman Reigns. That's how they view her. Okay, so I said Rodriguez. Alan, I think, agrees with me. So we'll go with that.
I agree.
The men's, I'm going to go with LA Knight winning his bracket. I think he will beat Javon Evans. I think LA Knight in the finals is an easy thing for me, personally. I think Royce Keys, as Alan said, the roses off the bloom a little bit with him. He's lost a lot, so I think maybe they're not going to treat him maybe as big a star maybe some people wanted.
Yeah, there's a reason why they didn't bring him in straight after the Rumble winner.
Yeah, so we've heard the rumors that they didn't realize he was as old as he was. That works. That does work against you. It does. If you're new and you're old, if you're an old returning veteran like a CM Punk, that's different. But if you're old and you're new, that does work against you badly. So Jey Uso, I don't see why he would win.
No,
Finn Balor, all due respect to Finn Balor, he ain't winning it. So I think, considering that LA Knight has been talking shit about Roman and the Bloodline, true words, by the way, for the record, telling the truth about them, it makes sense for LA Knight to go through. He ain't going to lose to Javon Evans. Are we looking at an Obafemi LA Knight final? You think Oba is going out because of
Yeah,
Brock?
I think Then that sets up the SummerSlam match. Oba versus Brock 3.
So who are you going for the finals then? The King of the Ring.
It makes sense for LA Knight to be there because obviously he's talking shit about Roman Reigns. It makes sense for him to get to fight him at SummerSlam. He won't win. He won't win, unfortunately. I'd like him to win. I'd like him to be, just hit the BFT on Roman and pin him. That'd be great. But it ain't gonna happen. He's gonna eat a spear and that's it.
He's talking too much. He's talking too much shit about Roman Reigns. I can't believe that he's not gonna. How well? I mean, unless they do the obvious and they just have Obafemi just destroy everyone. And by the way, they could do that. I hope they don't, but it's not an impossible. I don't think Dominic Mysterio, because he's the heel, you could say that he would fit the gimmick the most because he is a heel. You can see him being the douchebag king kind of thing could fit him maybe more than anyone because he is the heel. Unless, could LA Knight turn heel in a process? Could LA Knight face Obafemi in the finals? They do the Brock stuff, and Oba and LA Knight takes advantage of it and kind of turns heel because he ain't going to be LA Knight ain't going to fight Roman as a babyface. If LA Knight's facing Roman at SummerSlam, he's turning heel.
Yeah. It's gonna be Brock comes in probably F5's over. I don't know how that's gonna work because obviously it's a straight up match, isn't it? There'll be DQs and stuff. So obviously there's gonna be some fuckery somewhere. Referee have to go down. Brock will have to come in. I mean, how many was it last time? Seven to beat him.
Kicked out of 6, didn't he? It took
6 out of 6, and the 7th one. So I don't know how that's gonna work. Is Brock? Is the ref going to? How long is the ref going to be down for this?
This is exactly the problem I said last year. Now you've showed Obafemi can't be pinned by 6 F5s. So now what do you do? What now becomes realistic?
I can't believe that Brock. The ref will go down. Brock will hit him with like 1 F5, sort of roll out, sort of back off and smile. Oba sort of like gets up, stunned, turns around into a BFT, and then gets pinned. I don't believe that.
I can't believe that. I know. I can't believe that. I wouldn't believe that. That's the damage, guys, that me and Alan were talking about. This is the damage that they did with that Brock Lesnar match. This is the damage they've done. Now I don't buy anything pinning Obafemi realistically. I can't buy it because you showed me he kicked out of 6 F5s. So Alan's bang on. Why would you believe that? And let's be realistic here, Alan. What's more impressive, an F5 or blunt force trauma?
By F5.
Right then. So why would one blunt force trauma put down Obafemi?
Exactly. Exactly.
So I'm going with an LA Knight Obafemi final.
Yep.
LA Knight turns heel, Brock Lesnar interferes. LA Knight sees the interference and doesn't give a shit. He capitalizes on the interference and then maybe cuts that because LA Knight's got the promo chops to pull it off. LA Knight becomes King in the Ring. Could he come up with a kind of interesting moniker for that? King LA Knight, LA King, Night King, something. Who knows? Right?
Yeah.
Who knows? He can play with it a little bit as a heel. And LA Knight's got the promo where he probably could make something work as playing up the whole King of the Ring stuff. But if you really played it up. That's what I see happening. LA Knight wins. Obafemi gets screwed by Brock. LA Knight takes advantage, turns heel in the process, and then faces Roman Reigns. He won't win. Alan's bang on. He ain't going to beat Reigns for the belt.
No.
But and I don't know if that screams Night 2 main event of SummerSlam. I actually don't think it should. But I don't know what they're going to have Cody doing.
I'm going to put a spin on this.
What's that?
I'm going to put a spin on the SummerSlam match. If this is going to be LA Knight versus Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
LA Knight wins.
How?
Turns the Usos against him. He's been in the Usos' ears for weeks, telling them, you're still this.
Right. He has.
Maybe at that point, the Usos actually something clicks in them, thinking, do you know what? He's right. They both turn on Reigns.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that. It's not going to happen, but I just thought I'd throw it in there. So, there you go. So, I'm going to call it as an outside prediction. Usos turn on Reigns. LA Knight gets to win and becomes your new world champion.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy. I'd be more than happy with that. I can hear Com screaming because Com hates Ellie. He hates both of them, to be honest. I don't think he'd probably want them both to just get injured or something during the match, and that would be Com's best result. So he hasn't got to see either of them.
No contest. Both get stretched it out. No contest.
Yeah. I myself don't have a massive problem with LA Knight. I've seen his work as a heel in TNA.
Yeah,
I've seen his work.
I've seen some videos of it.
Yeah, I don't mind him.
He's very stunted, I think, in WWE.
Well, because he's not a particularly flashy wrestler, and he hasn't got that's the weakest part of his game is his in-ring work. He's serviceable. He's not a terrible wrestler. He does have a botch in him, unfortunately. He does, as we've seen. He does have a botch in him, which works against him, by the way, because he has botched a couple of times. Was it Elimination Chamber, Alan, when he fell off the top rope?
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
So he has got a botch in him. There's that stuff that they showed on Unreal last year when apparently he botched the ending of the Money in the Bank match. Have you heard all this? He botched the ending of the Money in the Bank match.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. Apparently he was like, he was trying to do a spot or something, and he
was out of position and he screwed up the ending. So that obviously works against him, but right. So I think LA Knight. Alan, are you agreeing with me? Or
I'm agreeing with you. Yeah, he's the most logical choice. I can't see Balor hasn't won shit in ages. Nothing of prestige anyway. He's won a match against Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough. That's it. The JSU experiment is over. Thank God.
Thank God.
He's wound down finally. And who else? Who's the other guy in this match?
Royce Keys.
Royce Keys? No chance. Sorry, Royce.
Yeah.
You got pinned by Talatonga last week. No chance.
Yeah. So you've got the same. So we've both gone for LA Knight. I'm saying a Femi Knight final. Do you think Femi gets taken out in the semi-finals, or is it if it Mysterio versus Knight? If Knight wins that, how does that facilitate a heel turn? It doesn't. So
depends. Depends. I mean, he might. Jey Uso might actually get the cover or something, or get the big move that hit the splash from top.
Yeah,
he might bounce off him. Like Rob Van Dam used to do. He used to hit the frog splash and then hold his midsection. At that point, I could see LA Knight do like a basement drop kick or something to knock Jey Uso under the bottom rope to the outside and then covering himself.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, so that's our thoughts on this year's tournament. And what we're going to quickly do, I know it's nearly 8 o'clock. So what we're going to quickly do, we always try to end on a little bit of a vintage segment because, some people who watch this might be young people, probably not that many, because myself and Alan and Com and also Rebel, we're all kind of elder statesmen wrestling fans. Me and Alan, maybe a bit more, but, we grew up in a peak era, really, of professional wrestling.
So. Yep, definitely.
And we were both there when they did the first... Now, the King of the Ring actually goes as far as back as about 1988.
85.
Is it really as far as 85?
Yeah,
wow.
Don Morocco won the first one in 85. He beat the Iron Sheik.
Wow, there you go. Alan with the facts. I remember Randy Savage winning one. I think Junkyard Dog won one. I think Bret Hart won one as well.
I've actually got a list here. Don Morocco beat Iron Sheik in 85. Harley Race beat Pedro Morales in 86. Savage beat King Kong Bundy in 87. Okay. Ted DiBiase beat Randy Savage in 88. In a King of Ring final in 88.
Interesting.
Tito Santana beat Rick Martel in 89.
Wow.
Bret Hart beat IRS in 91. Then obviously the pay-per-view version, Bret would win that one, beating Bam Bam Bigelow in the final.
So we remember, Alan, when they first announced the King of the Ring in 93. As Alan said, Bret Hart was in it. But you had the whole tournament. The whole tournament was on the pay-per-view. So you had the whole 16-man tournament. Yeah,
you'd have qualifying matches over because you never really saw this in 93. I mean, there was Raw, and that was the start of the getting rid of the jobber matches. So you wouldn't have the advancement talent anymore.
Yeah.
But you'd get that start of that. You'd have two, I'll say, top guys, because everyone was top, really. Everyone was a top guy.
Two like proper guys with gimmicks.
Proper guys with gimmicks, rather than the local talent come here to pin me, pay me, stare at the lights and shit. That'd be the main event of a wrestling challenge or a superstar. You get two guys in a qualifying match for the King of the Ring. Though the winner of that would get advanced to the first round, and that first round would take place at the pay-per-view, and the whole pay-per-view would be the tournament with a couple of little matches thrown in between to give everyone a rest in between the rounds.
And they'd have literally 8 matches. What they would do a lot of time is they would actually end up having a draw sometimes take place, so that it actually would end up it being 7 matches. That was one of their kind of booking crutches, which you understand because obviously they did it at WrestleMania 4. There was, I think it was Jake and Rude went to a draw, and One Man Gang got a bye to face Savage in the semis. So they've always kind of had that kind of booking thing, and they did it in '93 as well. Was it Luger and Tatanka in '93? I think went to a draw.
That's right. Yeah, they did the full 15 minutes. Yeah,
and that gave a bye for Bam Bam Bigelow. And so Bret Hart obviously had 3 great matches. He beat Razor Ramon. He beat Razor Ramon. He then beat Mr. Perfect in another good match. A rare babyface versus babyface match as well, which weren't commonplace back then. And then he beat Bam Bam Bigelow in the final. And that set off an interesting trend of the King of the Ring having its own pay-per-view. In '94, Owen Hart won it to build into the whole Bret Hart Owen Hart story. And they had Owen Hart, repeat what his brother did, and he beat Tatanka. Then he beat the 1-2-3. He had a great match against the 1-2-3 Kid. Beat the 1-2-3 Kid, and then he beat Razor Ramon in the final.
Yeah, actually, the whole bracket too. I've even got all the first round, the TV stuff. No way. Razor Ramon qualified against Quang. How about that?
I think Owen Hart beat Doink to get in. Could be wrong.
Yes, he did. You are right. Yeah, it was a 10-minute match.
On Raw, I remember him. He pinned Doink with a roll-up, I think.
Yeah.
So Owen Hart won it in '94, and again, the whole pay-per-view was on that. And then it started to take a bit of a downward trend after the initial 2 good winners, Bret Hart and Owen Hart. Owen Hart went on. That helped raise Owen Hart's status. He faced Bret Hart at SummerSlam, for the world title. So it's almost like, the winner got the world title match. It wasn't officially that way, but that's more or less what they did. But then, Alan, we got to '95 and we had King Mabel.
Yeah. So Mabel would qualify against Adam Bomb.
Yeah.
In a great, beat him in under 2 minutes, 1 minute 54 seconds. He pinned him.
And at this point, Mabel was still part of a tag team with Men on a Mission, right? So this was his kind of coming out party, I guess. Nobody. He fought the Undertaker. This is when the Undertaker never lost, right? He fought the Undertaker. So not one person believed he was going to win King of the Ring. He wasn't going to beat the Undertaker. People thought most likely the Undertaker's going to win it because Undertaker never lost back then.
Yeah.
So, but Mabel beats the Undertaker. I think Karma interferes or something. Mabel beats the Undertaker, and then he beats. Is it Savio Vega? He beats in the final, Alan, something like that.
Yeah, he beats Savio Vega. Yeah. Because obviously Karma and Shawn Michaels go to a time limit draw, giving Mabel the bye to the final.
Again, the classic clutch that they like to do. The heel normally gets a bye at some point, and then he goes on to fight Diesel, loses, and that's the end of Mabel's main event career forever. Probably rightfully so. He wasn't particularly a very good wrestler. He was just really big, really big. We're not going to go over every. We'll take an hours if we go over every single.
Yeah, if it's true. Yeah,
I'm just going over the first initial ones that set when they were the King of the Ring pay-per-views, when they were a big deal. Steve Austin in '96. Now this one was a catapult for someone. I think this is most likely for me. I think there's not been anyone who's taken advantage of the King of the Ring as much as Austin did. But Austin didn't get a title shot, unlike Owen Hart, who did in '94, and Mabel, who did in '95. Austin didn't get no title shot. Austin was wrestling Yokozuna at SummerSlam on the pre-show. That was 2 months after he won the King of the Ring.
Fucking hell.
So if people think that Austin won the King of the Ring and then he was just a main eventer, that's not how that happened. Austin didn't become a main eventer until the end of the year when he fought Bret Hart at Survivor Series. Then he started becoming a main eventer once he started feuding with Bret. But so the King of the Ring did shoot him up the card, but it was not an instant overnight. Oh, Austin's won the King of the Ring. Now he's a main eventer. That's not how it worked. That's not how it happened.
Yeah, that happens.
But it was still a good boost. It was a launching pad, and then Austin cut his big promo, which also helped as well. His Austin 316 promo, which got a lot of fans' attention as well. But even so, even after the promo, he started getting a lot of notoriety then. But it still wasn't an instant success for Steve Austin. He still had another 6 months or so of not doing that much until he started fighting Bret Hart. Then his status went up. So the King of the Ring helped Austin. It started the push, but it wasn't the final. It wasn't the final piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, it helped. Yeah, it gave him it gave him that boost he needed.
Yeah.
That's sort of it. It started the train in motion.
Yeah. And then after that, you had winners like in '97, I think it was Triple H, then known as.
I should point out by '97, the whole qualifying match thing had disappeared. It's basically quarterfinal. That's what it was. It went to quarterfinals. Basically, you had 8 guys, quarterfinals, and then you had the semis and the final on the pay-per-view.
And Triple H won it. He beat Mankind in the final, but that was more to facilitate Mankind turning babyface, from what I remember, because Mankind more or less turned babyface after that match and started feuding with Helmsley.
Yeah.
So for Helmsley, again, he didn't become a main eventer. Again, he didn't. Helmsley took even longer. Helmsley didn't become a main eventer really until like '99. So he was still a good 2 years off from becoming a main eventer. He wouldn't win the world title till '99. So again, the King of the Ring, it facilitated a push, but it still took a long time for Triple H to get to that final level. And then, see, this is a problem now, Al. The winners start to dilute in my mind.
After this. True. Yeah.
I think Shamrock won it in '98.
Yeah, he beat The Rock by submission.
It did nothing for Ken Shamrock because it was The Rock a couple of months later who went on to become the world champion.
Also, they actually qualifying rounds in the 1998 one. Why they did have in '97? I don't know, but in '98 they went back to the qualifying rounds.
They treated it a bit more seriously. Yeah, so you had The Rock versus Shamrock in the final. Shamrock won, but it was The Rock who became the world champion by the end of the year. Shamrock never really did anything with it. He didn't.
No.
And then again, I think Billy Gunn won it in '99.
Yeah, we're really scraping the barrel now.
And you can see, can't you guys? You can see how the quality is kind of getting lower and lower and lower.
Semi-final on pay-per-view, Billy Gunn beat Kane in 5 minutes.
And that was when Kane was at his peak as well. So I don't know how.
Yeah, this is peak Kane. 99 2000. That's peak Kane.
And then in 2000, I think it was Kurt Angle.
It was a better winner. Kurt Angle beat Rikishi.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a very short final.
He. I remember the ending, Alan. He angle slammed Rikishi off the top rope. That's the end. I remember it.
That's a massive tournament, actually. There are 2 rounds on TV. You had a round of 32, then a round of 16. Wow.
Yeah, so that one wasn't bad because that did help Kurt, because then Kurt a couple of months later did actually go on to win the world title. So that actually did help Kurt. So that one I think did its job. But the Billy Gunn one was a disaster. The Triple H one, Triple H won a little bit like the Steve. I think Triple H got less than Steve Austin because of the promo. Probably is a standout moment for Triple H. He won it. Then I can't remember anything else Triple H did for like 2 years. I think he joined DX. He was like he was the bag carrier of DX. That's what I remember Triple H doing, really. So, but Kurt Angle did a lot with the King of the Ring, and then I think Edge won it in 2001. I think, or 2000.
Yeah, no, 2001. Yeah, he beat Kurt Angle in the final.
Yeah. But again, what did Edge do with the King of the Ring? He didn't do anything with it.
Nothing really. He didn't become world champion until he cashed in Money in the Bank, wasn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, he didn't win the world title till years and years afterwards. took him like 5 more years to win the world title. So it didn't really do much for Edge. Again, you're seeing that the babyface winners in Shamrock and Edge much less impactful than when the heels like an Austin or like a Kurt Angle win it. Again, you're seeing more evidence that it's kind of wasted on the babyfaces. It is. It's kind of wasted on the babyfaces. And then Alan, I can't the winners. I remember Brock Lesnar won it in 2002.
That's right.
I remember.
Beat Rob Van Dam.
Right. And I think that might have been the last King of the Ring pay-per-view. I think that might have been the last one. If I'm wrong, then tell me.
You're right. Yeah, that's the last time it was on pay-per-view.
Right. Brock Lesnar, obviously,
until 2015, apparently.
2015. We'll have to get to that in a sec. So Brock Lesnar, that did help Brock because Brock then went on to beat The Rock at SummerSlam. So again, I think that's when they first introduced Alan that the winner of the King of the Ring got the guaranteed title shot at SummerSlam. That's what I think. I think that was the first time they actually said officially. So that did help Brock because Brock had only been in the company about 3 months. So that hot-shotted Brock into getting the world title match. Even though Brock Lesnar didn't walk around calling himself the King of the Ring because he didn't do that, it did facilitate the title match. And then he ended up beating The Rock, winning the world title, and then he was a made man more or less from that point. But again, the King of the Ring was a useful cog in getting Brock the title match and pushing him up the card, even though he didn't particularly play on the King of the Ring gimmick.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Alan, I can't tell you who won it in the years. I can't. Because the pay-per-view goes away and then they brought it back.
Yeah, they brought it back, about 9 years. No, actually less than more than that. About 13 years later. And Bad News Barrett would win it.
What did he do with it, Alan? Do you remember? Do you remember Sheamus won it 1 year?
Sheamus did win it, yeah. I think the next one after that was 2019. Oh, Baron Corbin won it. Oh my god, that's right, because he became King Corbin, didn't he?
Oh yeah, King Corbin.
And then he lost that to he had like a persona match against Shinsuke Nakamura and then lost it. So we had King Nakamura. This is during the pandemic era, wasn't it?
You're seeing, guys, the quality is dropping off, aren't you? Right? I mean, we're all seeing the quality. King Booker, there you go. King Booker was okay with it.
Yeah.
He actually changed his gimmick when he became king. So King Booker actually was a good one because he played into it. He played into the whole king gimmick. He actually ran with that gimmick for a good couple of years when he had Queen Charmel and everything.
That's right.
They really went. So that actually was a good one because the gimmick changed it. I think he was a babyface before he won it. I could be wrong, but anyway, that he became a heel, and it actually got him the world title. He only had one short reign with it, but it did help facilitate him getting the world title. So I think King Booker was a success. But so many of them during this period, Alan, was just
because the last pay-per-view for King of the Ring was actually 2002, although Booker T won a King of the Ring tournament in 2006. As did William Regal in 2008, Sheamus in 2010. Bad News Barrett would come back for the resurgence of King of the Ring pay-per-view to 2015. Baron Corbin would win a pandemic version in 2019. Xavier Woods would win it in 2021.
Yeah.
And then nothing until Gunther wins it in 2024.
So, as you can see, guys, the importance of the King of the Ring has deteriorated immensely since its first 4 or 5. The last one was 2002 when it. Alan says they brought it back. I have no recollection. I'm sure Alan's still.
I think by the looks of what I'm saying, it looks like if you remember this one, a WWE Network exclusive. So it wasn't like a.
It wasn't a proper pay-per-view.
It was something exclusively for the WWE Network.
Wow. There you go. So they didn't even care enough to actually make it a pay-per-view. So it probably came back as a one-night special, I'm going to guess, as a glorified house show.
Probably.
So quickly then, Alan, because obviously it's 1:15. Your best and the worst King of the Ring, in your opinion?
My best King of the Ring is probably going to be Owen Hart because I think he really played into the role. Plus, he was a good wrestler.
Yeah.
He had some great matches at that pay-per-view. His final against Razor Ramon was brilliant. Loved it. And the commentary from Mark Donovan helped.
Well, he played into the gimmick, Alan, because he was calling himself the King of Hearts, wasn't he?
That's right. Yeah, he called himself the King of Hearts. He ran with that for a while.
Brett, as a play on and winning it after Brett did. So he
That's it. Yeah. And there's no sly on Brett, because Brett was he only won it to facilitate his feud against Jerry the King Lawler.
Yes.
That's why Brett won it. That's why Brett won it. So this is why Owen Hart was better, because Owen Hart, A, was a heel, and B, he ran with it. He ran with it. And he was great. He was great.
He had the scepter and he had the crown, and he played the King of Hearts gimmick for quite a while, didn't he?
Yeah,
for a couple of years.
And if we're thinking worst, looking at this list, my God. I mean, I'm not going to count half of them, because half of them weren't even on the pay-per-view. If we're going from the pay-per-view King of the Rings, which is the official King of the Rings in my mind, it's a toss-up between Mabel and Ken Shamrock. Or even Billy Gunn. Oh, I don't know.
Who was worse, Alan? Billy Gunn or Mabel?
I mean, at least Mabel got a title shot. That doesn't help Matt as much.
Billy Gunn didn't get a title shot.
Yeah, Billy Gunn and Ken Shamrock didn't do anything with it. So, I don't know. Billy Gunn, he's the worst one, in my eyes.
Wow. The worst one for me is a toss-up between Xavier Woods, and even though Alan's right, he won it more in. There was no pay-per-view, but again,
it's a pandemic thing.
It's a pandemic thing, but again, I'm looking at what did the King of the Ring do for people? What did the King of the Ring do at all for Xavier Woods?
Just gave him a gimmick for about a year.
He's a tag team wrestler, just like Mabel was, right? He was a tag team wrestler in the New Day, who I couldn't stand either. He wins it and goes on to do nothing.
Yeah, pretty much.
And damages the tournament, because damages the importance of the tournament. When Mabel won it, it was still a big deal, even though Mabel was an absolute train wreck. But the King of the Ring would survive kind of onwards with Austin and Triple H. So there was better times. With Xavier Woods, I don't know if it ever comes back from him being King of the Ring.
No, probably not. I mean, if I'm going to look at the whole list, then yeah, they could definitely be one of the worst ones.
Because he was a crappy tag team wrestler who did nothing with it. At least Mabel got a title shot.
Yeah.
He was terrible, but at least he went on to get a title shot.
True.
Xavier Woods, what did he do with it? Nothing.
Did Billy Gunn ever hold a singles title? Didn't, did he?
Hardcore title.
Okay.
I know. I think he had the IC belt.
Okay. There you go. But there you go. Xavier Woods could technically be the worst one there, because he actually has never held a singles title that I remember.
Okay, so I think that Mabel didn't ever hold a singles title, and also Xavier Woods never held a singles title. I think everyone else at least held some form of a belt. Shamrock was an IC champion.
Yeah, that's right.
Billy Gunn was an IC champion. Sheamus was a world champion. Barrett was an IC champion. King Booker was a world champion. Owen Hart was an IC champion. Yeah. So kayfabe wise, it's Xavier Woods or Mabel, because they never won a singles title. You know what? I'm going to go with Xavier Woods, because at least Mabel main evented SummerSlam and got a world title shot. So at least it actually did do something.
That's my logic.
Even though it was terrible, at least it did something.
Yeah, shot attack on second right pins him.
Yeah, he couldn't do the jack. Obviously, he couldn't do the jackknife, so yes, just close some, just out of nowhere, just pinned him. Dreadful, absolutely dreadful. There's nothing good about King Mabel. Don't get it wrong. I can't defend King Mabel, but at least it facilitated him getting a world title shot. So it did at least something. That's it.
Yeah, that's very true.
The best one, look, Alan's really close with Owen Hart. Owen Hart would probably be my second. I've got to go with Steve Austin, because even though it didn't hot shot Austin to the world title, without the promo on Jake.
Yeah, the promo's good. It's a legendary promo. It will be there forever in history. But the only reason I pick Owen Hart is because Owen Hart ran with the gimmick.
You're right. So Austin didn't take the crown. He didn't take the scepter. He came out in black trunks, knee braces the next night. 100%. He did not play into the gimmick at all. I just think that when I look at the impact, Steve Austin is the biggest superstar other than maybe Hogan of all time, and it shot him. It started the trajectory to the top. Without the promo, does he still get there? Without the promo he cuts on Jake, you want to think that he would, and maybe he still would have, but maybe he wouldn't have. I don't know. But that the King of the Ring facilitated the promo because he beat Jake Roberts in the final. So it's one of those things where, you look at the small detail, just like, without the promo, does he become the Austin 316 stuff doesn't happen. So his big catchphrase never catches on. He doesn't sell all those t-shirts. If he doesn't sell all those t-shirts, does Vince McMahon push him to the moon if he doesn't sell all those t-shirts?
No, it's very true. It certainly was a catalyst to his greatness, really.
So for me, Steve Austin is the best King of the Ring of all time. The person who played the gimmick the best, King Booker or Owen Hart. Those two really played into it. Right. So there you go. Yeah. Alan's choice is Owen Hart, which is a great choice. And I'm going to go with Steve Austin mainly because of the promo more than anything Austin actually did as the King. But Owen Hart's a good choice. King Booker, I think, also really played into the character. Those two, for me, are the two standouts for playing into the character. My favorite King ever is Macho King Randy Savage, but he didn't win that by winning a tournament.
No, he beat Duggan, didn't he, for it?
He beat Duggan, yeah. But Savage is my favorite Macho King because he really played into it as well. Set to demand, this stuff like
that. Straight arms in the Rumble.
Exactly, and the whole thing with Dusty Rhodes and just funny stuff. If you were a kid, I loved Randy Savage as a kid. So
he used to get carried to the ring on his throne, didn't he, as well?
Exactly. Oh, Jobbers used to carry him, yeah. And then he had the scepter and stuff like that, and he had Sensational Queen Sherry, and obviously King Booker was kind of playing off Randy Savage all those years later. He had his own Queen Charmel, so there was all.
Yeah.
Right then, but thank you guys. It's nearly 7:30, so you got a long podcast of just me and Alan talking King of the Ring and Raw. Do join us next week. I might not be able to do next Wednesday, so it might end up being Alan and Kev because I've got my operation on Monday, and I might not be back in time. If I can be, I will be. If I can't, then it might be Alan and Kev. That's why I asked if Kev is going to come back. So you might have to do it next week with Kev, Alan.
That's fine. We'll have a laugh. Me and Kev will have a laugh.
Yeah.
I know Kev's got a lot of things to say about TKO. So
yeah, he wants to have a massive rant on TKO.
Yeah, I'm gonna let the floodgates open. Can't wait, Kev.
Yeah, look out for that next week. We normally do these on a Wednesday. We did miss it this week. That's why you're getting it today. But look out for next Wednesday. We should be the next episode. If I can get back, I will. If I can do it, I will. But if not, I'm sure Alan and Kev will do it. But please join us next week. Normally at 7 p.m. On a Wednesday is normally our go-to time. So a bit differently this week. But anything left to say, Alan, before we get out of here?
Other than the King of the Rings these days are just so fucking lazy. Yeah. You're meant to have these on one event. Build the injuries, build the stamina levels, tell the story.
Yeah.
But no, you just do it over a course of several nights.
Fatal 4-Ways got no part in the King. It's a tournament, single elimination tournament.
Yeah. You're not King of the Ring by getting a lucky victory in a Fatal 4-Way.
Exactly. It
should be called Pauper of the Ring, more like it. Really.
They should rename it. They should. You know what they should?
Peasant of the Ring.
Peasant of the Ring. Piece of shit of the ring. Yeah. Garbage of the ring. Bum of the ring. My favorite because I think Roman Reigns is a bum, so that makes sense for him to fight another bum. I had to get a little dig in it, didn't I? Right. Okay. Well, take care, guys. Remember to like, subscribe, tell anyone who likes wrestling. You'll see Alan and Kev next week, maybe me. But yeah, enjoy your wrestling, even if you have to fast forward a lot of it. Always be a fan, and we'll see you again next time. But take care, and bye for now.
Yeah.
One of it over. Go on, do it.
One of it over. Yeah.
Where's your lexicon? That's from Bob Backlund. Go on, Alan. Before we go, do a TED, and then we'll go.
Well, everybody's got a price for living in the LeBron. That wasn't very good.
Nah, good. We accept TED. Bye-bye.